everybody, and it's great to meet all of you once again this week. This week also it's an opportunity to do a presentation, but today's presentation will actually be a little bit of different. Instead of going for a PowerPoint, I'll actually take you through the two platforms. That's the digital Africa map that we've actually been showcasing every time. If you're on the WhatsApp group, you notice that there has been various forms of imageries showing at various points of on the African land, whereby you can actually use these images to interact. And we also have the sandbox. Within the sandbox, there are also various use cases within it. So today, what I'm actually going to do is going to be like take you through the sandbox, the notebooks that are available, and how you can actually use those notebooks at your work area. And also maybe if you are doing a certain project and you would like us to also help you develop the use case or the product using the sandbox, we are also available to do that. So that's what today I'll actually be talking with you. I hope by now most of you have been able to go through the 6 weeks training that we have here. It's actually a great tutorial to also get you started with the platform. So not to waste much time, let me share my screen.
I think, Edward, you're on mute, sir.
Thank you, Ken. Sorry. So please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see you on the
Okay.
screen.
Okay, great. Please, I wanted to find out, I wanted to know how many of you have been able to visit the sandbox? If you can actually raise your hands in the chat. We want to know those who actually have been able to visit the sandbox and actually utilize the platform within it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's very great. So knowing this, so normally okay. So before you can actually go to the sandbox, you can actually visit the sandbox using sandbox.digitalearth.africa. Wow, that's very interesting. I've seen a lot of hands going up, and that actually shows, oh wow, that's very, very great. So if you visit that section, you are going to see multiple notebooks within multiple folders within the sandbox, as you can see here. So you have the beginner's guide, you have the bin, bootcamp, dataset, decal, dev, frequently used codes, real world examples, scripts, snipers, supplementary data, training use cases, and those and so forth. But the question is, right now that I'm in the sandbox, which of the notebooks can I actually identify and use it for my case study? Or do we already have an existing notebook? Because I'm not a Python developer. I don't have much knowledge on how to utilize Python, but there are use cases that I will be happy to work on. Does Digital Earth Africa already have an existing notebook that can actually give me an idea of what is actually happening on the ground? We have that. So that's what today I will actually take you through it. So normally if you open the notebook, you are going to see all these notebooks available, all these folders that you are seeing here available. But the most very ones that can actually be of interest will be the beginner's guide, the frequently used code, the real world example, and the use cases. Those 4 folders actually contain an existing thing that is actually happening on the ground that you can actually use it. So what can you actually find in the frequently used code? So if you open the frequently used code, and you can actually do follow along with me beside your machine, just go to the sandbox.digitalearth.africa. And if you don't have your credentials, you can create some. It will take less than a minute for you to be able to activate and also enter it. So you can actually follow alongside with me. So if you actually open the frequently used code, all these notebooks are codes that has been generated that can actually help you within the areas that you are actually working with. So, and these codes, they are there to support us. So for instance, within the frequently used code, we have some of the code called the animated time series. What does the animated time series do? It's actually a code that will help you to create animations if you have various forms of satellite images available. So once you double click it, it will actually open the notebook for you. And within that, you don't actually have to have any expertise in coding. There's a vivid explanation on how the notebook actually functions. So once that notebook's open, to give you the background information, how to also utilize the notebook and which parameters you are supposed to change if you actually want to apply it in a different area. So one nice thing is you don't just put it just there as you see, but it gives you a background explanation. So within it, you can actually see the background information from how the generated animated time series actually comes about using the XR animations. So it gives you the background information and it will give you a description. Then at every cell, it will give you the information you actually need in relation to that particular notebook. So if you follow the description about every cell, it will be very easier for you to use it. So one of the things that makes it much easier is it will actually let you know the areas whereby you are supposed to change so that you can actually move to the area of interest you are supposed to work with. So for instance, here you only have to change the lat and the long, then maintain the rest. After that, it will actually load a place for you. It will actually load a study area. This study area you are seeing is within Africa. So it actually loads it for you. Then it will give you a step-by-step guide on how the animation is created. So at the end of the day, you're going to see how the animation that from the satellite images have been created for a particular use case. That is one for it. If someone is also actually interested in monitoring water quality, for instance, there has been a lot of water body problems within Africa. So maybe you might want to monitor the water quality, but those notebook is already also existing in the sandbox. So you don't actually have to go and develop anything from the scratch. No, those notebooks are already developed. And the background information also is given on for you so that it will be like, okay, what can I already use this notebook for? So the background information is actually given it to you. And the functions that will be computed is also given to you in the sandbox. So the monitor water quality, if you actually look at the background, it actually lets you know that, okay, we're actually going to use 4 different algorithms to determine the water quality for a given area. So this one also still follows it. Then if you follow the instruction, it has actually given some of the water bodies that you can actually use, not just one particular area. So you can see we have Lake Manyara in Tanzania. It's an example. We have the Reja Reservoir, Ghana, and we have the Lake Shininga, Tanzania. So if you have these ones, you can simply change the latitude and the longitude here to actually help you to monitor the water quality that is actually on the ground. So once you change the latitude and the longitude here, it will actually develop one of it for you. So if you are looking at this Lake Manyara from Tanzania, and within the Lake Manyara, what you're actually doing is to calculate the water quality using the total suspended sediment algorithm. So all those algorithms are already here. So at every cell, we explain the algorithm to you and the cells the bands that you are going to use it. So we used 4 different algorithms. So all those algorithms will be explained to you and how they are being utilized. After that, we just present the results also for you at this section. Then you just run it to get you. So with all these 4 algorithms, you can actually go through and see the one that actually works best for the area that you are working. Then you move on to the next one. We also have the vegetation phonology. We also have the working with time. So all these functions are functions that can be found at the frequently used code. And I hope if you go there, it will actually help you to know how best you can actually also utilize these functions. The next notebook, the next folder that we have is the real world examples. So with the real world example, the difference between the real world examples and the frequently used code is with the frequently used code, it's generalized. It's a tool that you can actually pick and do it. But with the real world, it has actually been tested at a particular place and it actually worked. So you can develop an algorithm, but it hasn't been tested. So you put it in the frequently used code. It's a tool that is there based on the research or so. But within the real world, it actually map it to a particular area of interest. So for instance, the bent area mapping is a work that has actually been mapped to a particular area of interest. So once you click on that, you're also going to get a very clear definition of what is happening on the ground. So you don't just put the codes there. You want everybody to understand what is actually happening at the background. You don't also have to have advanced knowledge in coding. No. Once you follow the instruction that is given, all you have to do is follow the instruction, go through the first example, and just look at how the code actually functions. So with the bent area, see how the code actually functions. Then with it, you can actually see the end result. So after seeing the end result and you see it to be a very great product that you actually want to use it, the next phase is just to move up to the latitude and the longitude side of the thing, which is this cell, which is also explained here. Then change it to your area of interest. Just pick the latitude and longitude, the centroid of that area. Just pick that side. Then change the latitude and the longitude here. Then rerun the notebook again. Once you rerun the notebook again for a different area, you will see that you'll be able to get this result that you have it here. And with the bent area mapping, it's actually also compared with the modest hotspot. So it's not going to be like you get another data to validate what you are actually doing from that. Not only that, you have the crop monitoring, the coastal erosion, crop health, machine learning, mangrove analysis, urban change detection, vegetation change detection, and you also have the water extent. So all these notebooks are notebooks that you can actually pick it up and apply it in your study area without actually going through a lot of stress. And it will actually also give you a good result at your end. The new notebook that you've actually also created is the use cases. So the use cases notebook is our use cases that we're actually developing. So this one is also something that is actually also happening on the ground. So if you go to the land, Lake Baringo grazing, you're going to see the vegetation phonology. It's an improved version from the frequently used notebook. You also have the per pixel, and you also have the water extent. So all these are per advanced ones. But the great thing is it's not just codes, but there are descriptions attached to them. So once you run them, you will see the end results there. And once you see that it actually match what you're actually after, this use case actually match it. All you have to do is change the latitude and the longitude. Then you can run it at any different area to give you the results that you are after. So this one is just one perfect one. Very soon, I think we will have a presentation on this. It was a very great use case that we have a presentation on how it actually worked together to get this. But once you notice that what you want to work on is actually in line with what is happening, you can just pick that notebook, change the latitude and longitude. It's consistent throughout. The latitude and longitude is consistent throughout. Change them, then execute it. Once you execute it, you'll be able to get your end results as we are also having here. So if you have a chance and you go to the sandbox, you can visit your voice. You can visit these three folders. That's the frequently used code, the real world example, and the use cases, and be playing around with it. change the latitude and longitude and run it for different areas. And you can, the good thing, once you find something interesting, you can also share it with us, with the team on WhatsApp, or even decide to do a presentation and share what you have, your findings with us. We are here to listen. And one thing is, you will actually be surprised that a lot of people have a lot of contribution to that use case that you actually want to do, and can actually modify it along the way. So these are some of the things that is found in the notebook. And I hope that you have the chance to go through it and pick some of the notebooks, run it along any area choice that you think you want to find something, then run it there. Then after running it, share the results with us. If you encounter any challenges also, just reach out to us. Ken and I are available to support you. Reach out to us, then we will help you to execute it. So that at the end of the day, the data that we have, you actually know that, okay, we are actually using it for all the problems or all the use cases you can get here to actually make sense out of them. So this is where I'll end my presentation. Thank you. And if there's any question, I'm here to answer.
Thank you very much, Edward, for that brief presentation and a very good overview. I think now the participants have seen and gotten a feel that the sandbox is very easy for everyone to use. And many of them have started using the sandbox, and also some of them are able to compare with what they have in the DA Africa Maps. Is there a question for Edward, please? Or a comment or something you'd like to be shown? So I think also silence means that what other topics would you like to see in the next presentations?
Hello.
Yes, sir, David.
Could we please try next time the coastal erosion tool? We will like to have a look at it and compare.
That would be great. I believe for you it will be the coast of Mombasa or somewhere around there.
Yes.
That is noted. Thank you so much, David. In the chat, I've put the blog which was developed by Lawrence Nganga from RCMRD on the mapping of forest fires. And I believe other people are thinking about various use cases. How about Stella Mutai? Are you there to greet us and tell us what is new?
Hey, how are you? I like what he's presented. Probably one of the key things that I'd really like to understand is I've seen we normally do time series across months. Like we look at vegetation that has changed over monthly period. But because we have access to Sentinel-2 data, that's a 5-day time period, is there a way we can be able to analyze, like see the index values, how they change over time within the 5 days time period? And if, for example, we have cloudy pixels at a particular certain area, what type of smoothing is being used and how they differ differently with other type of smoothing parameters? I was feeling like it would be good for us to understand, because many people can use time series data, but they don't understand how to do smoothing, especially under DA. Yeah.
Thank you, Stella. I believe Edward is here. Or Edward has gone for a small break.
No, Ken, I'm here. Sorry.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, no, I talked, but I forgot that I was on mute. Okay, so I think, Stella, that's actually a great thing that you can actually look into. Normally, just as you said, the daily data observation is actually interested, but sometimes you notice that because of clouds, you can actually get 2 or 3 weeks data off. Yeah, so normally that's why normally we actually use the monthly to actually give us estimate of what is actually happening on the ground. But the daily observation is also something you can actually do. So depending on the area of interest, and if you are doing it for a short period, maybe for only dry season, that's fine. But if you actually include rainy season, you are going to get a lot of missing data, which also wouldn't make your chart very smooth and also not very easy to present. Within the Africa, if you go to the frequently used code, let me just use an example. Frequently used code, we have the vegetation phenology notebook. Within that notebook, we have a tool called the statistics notebook. It's actually a very great, the Africa statistics tool. It's actually a great tool that actually helps in smoothing of your curves. And if there's also a missing data, which is not that very large, at a small period, it can actually help to smooth it for you, so that it will actually give you an estimate of what is actually happening there. So for the daily observation, you can actually do, but if you want to do it for a longer period, you are going to get most of the missing data in some part of Africa. So the best thing is if either you go for maybe a particular period, either dry period, dry season, or wet raining season, so that you can actually make a great prediction out of your chart.
So thank you, Stella, for the question, and also Edward for this good explanation. Thank you so much. So any other query or updates or an extra topic that will be of interest? Or possibly you can tell us what you're working on, like Stephen, Corey is in the call.
Hello, Kenneth and everybody. Thanks. Yes, so I've always been intrigued by how Digital Earth Africa does it, its analysis and all that. And the fact that we were given access to the sandbox, and being a data scientist, I've been trying to come up with small scripts to do a number of certain tasks. So Stella was talking about time series. Also did one that it is almost the same as the crop phenology notebook, but I decided to just use my own way of doing the same, and also smoothing and all that. I've also developed a crop classification script, which is still in its infant stages, but at least it has given me some results. And now I'm working on a crop yield prediction script also, because now we've been given a platform where we have all the data. We have all the time series data in one place. So that is just great. So probably one of these fine days, I'll be able to show you some of the things I've been working on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And I've also put the link to the recent blog that you published. Thank you so much for joining us, and also your comments. Well, much welcome. Thank you so much, sir. We're also joined by Joyce. Do you have any update from your side?
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well. I've been working, we have this project we're doing with World WWF on Lake Naivasha basin, and one of the problems facing the farmers there, and there was unsustainable farming was a problem to the fragile ecosystem of Lake Naivasha basin. So I decided to do something on water quality of Lake Naivasha. I'll be finalizing, and Ken has been helping me out, so I'll be able to share the results once I'm done.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Looking forward.
Thank you, Ken.
So any other update from any member? I am.
Can I ask Edward a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, Edward showed us how we can be able to access some different products from Digital Earth Africa, right? Like using QGIS and all that. But I was just wondering, is there a way in which we'll be able to access the raw data, like the Sentinel data from the data cube outside the sandbox?
Okay, Corey. So I think apart from the sandbox and using the OWS services, you can also access it through the S3 buckets, but that's actually a lot advanced users. So that's also another way. So the OWS services are available, and also the sandbox is available, and the S3 bucket also is also another option to access it.
Thank you so much, Edward, for this explanation. And I know, Corey, you'll be able to check those opportunities. So any other update for us this week? Edward, I know there was maybe if you had any update for Kelabugi.
Yes, I think last week we had a meeting to discuss the use case. So Kelly, I think this week you hear from us. Thank you for the template also that you shared with us.
And I think from her explanation, she was able to show you the variability of this very interesting area.
Yeah.
I think I was able to see that if I was able to share my screen, she was discussing about the lake, the north here, which I think it's moving with so using the WAFs, you could see some changes in this particular area. See this Lake Ngami. So using even the water observation from space, you could see there were some variabilities over time. So there's a lot we can do. The option of using also the DE maps as we explore the sandbox and also do big analysis. Any other update for us? August, how are you, sir?